really feel that FGO decided to stay outdated in that quality of life that other gachas have by default these days. I mean, it is a 7-year-old game, but I mean, I feel like that's not a good excuse. Then again, with the way, it still earns money, I guess they're not worried about it. I mean, but then again, the FGO does reward us with a lot of, summons. That is what that is one thing about FGO. Like, I feel like I'm always able to save up enough to be able to make multiple summons, unlike with games, let's say, like Genshin Impact. Like, I definitely don't think... Like, whenever I roll in Genshin Impact, I'm always thinking I'm gonna reach the pity. Like, and I'm never gonna get lucky. Unlike with FGO, I feel like, okay, there's a chance to get lucky, right? With Genshin, sure, the pity system is more rewarding, but I feel like I always hit... I mean, it's not the pity that I hit, but like, I always hit soft pity. Genshin is earning a lot of money too, and they were listening to their audience about some changes to make in the game. I don't know. I feel like they're not listening to the audience. They just did a knee-jerk reaction to make them, to pacify them. They're not listening to them. They're just trying to pacify their audience, I feel. I mean, but then, I'm really hoping that, because like the way Genshin does other stuff, like the way they promote their game, they promote their characters, it's great. I just wish, like, they've made so much money. Why not make it easier for players to, to be able to summon by giving them more rewards? Because, like, I feel like I've said this many times before. Genshin, the approach that Genshin has taken is that they are sticking to their plan. So whether the game did not meet their expectations, or like now that the game has gone over their expectations, they are sticking to their current plan. You could tell because they haven't changed their formula in these almost 2 years of the game running. They have not changed their formula. I mean, sure, they may have delayed patch 2.7, sure, but that's just them stalling. They didn't really... Well, not stalling, no, I can't say that. That's a bit mean. I'm sure that there was some reason, like the COVID, the COVID resurgence in China did affect them quite a bit. But I feel like some of it was also partially stalling, I feel like. Because, like, they still did their drip marketing for, like, the new character for patch 2.8. And they still released the testing for that. But then again, I guess why, if it's going to be ready, why not just, bring it out, put it out there, I guess. That's another way to look at it. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, like, Genshin, like Hoyoverse just basically decided to just continue with their default plan, and rather than trying to, increase the budget, increase the output for Genshin Impact, they just stuck with the same output that they were gonna do regardless of how well it performed, how well the game would perform. And then, like, you know what? Like, I'm actually... Another thing that I'm excited for with the other Hoyoverse games coming out is... Because, like, right now, aside from, like, the Hoyoverse games that are coming out, there doesn't seem to be any other gacha game, mobile game, / whatever game that can seem to compete with the success of Genshin Impact. Maybe the new Ni no Kuni game might be able to, compete with Genshin Impact. But I feel like because of that lack of competition towards Genshin Impact, that's why the developers have stayed on their usual path. They've had no reason nor incentive to increase the the production for Genshin Impact. That's why they've stayed the course, kept to their existing roadmap, and put out the same content, and while still making loads of money. Now the thing I'm seeing is, so if there is no other developer that can provide competition, how about competition from within itself? So that's why I'm excited for Honkai Star Rail. That's why I'm excited for Zenless Zone Zero. Because if there's going to be no competition from anywhere else, at least for now, for all we know, there might be competition from other sources eventually. Having multiple games under one umbrella might still, because Genshin Impact definitely has a different team from Honkai Impact, has a different team from Honkai Star Rail, has a different team from Zenless Zone Zero. So when it comes to corporations, it's all about your performance and how you compare to the rest of the business. I mean, I come from a corporate world, and that's how we're pretty much evaluated year-on-year basis. Not only are you evaluated based on your performance, your own performance, but your performance is also compared to those around you. So I'm thinking that, I guess while there is no other competition for Genshin Impact, once Honkai Star Rail releases, once Zenless Zone Zero releases, the competition between those three games within Hoyoverse will start to actually affect Genshin and actually make the developers start to think, oh, okay, we're losing our player base to our other project teams, so we need to get them back. We need to make a better draw for our own game. So I'm hoping that's what happens. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited for Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail. Because if we don't get if there's not going to be any competition from somewhere else, self-competition, competition between your own developers, between your own teams, that can happen. That does happen in the corporate world, and I have experienced it. So hopefully, like once these two new games from Hoyoverse release, not only will it just, I mean, it's good for us. Like, we have more content to consume, and if it's anything like Genshin Impact, which is pretty much, you have to admit, I mean, for all the faults Genshin Impact has had in the last 2 years, like, there has been no other game that has had the same impact the same influence, I guess, Genshin Impact has had from any other mobile gacha game. I mean, sure, I can probably point to Punishing Grey Raven, but that's more of because I really enjoy the gameplay. So, like, there has been no other gacha game where, like, I really enjoyed the characters, not just being able to summon them, but because of, like, like last year, pretty much my favorite character from last year was pretty much Eula. Eula was such an interesting character. I enjoyed her involvement in some of the story quests. Her battle style, I really do enjoy. While she's not my most powerful character, she's still one of the characters I use the most because that's how much I enjoy her gameplay. Wait, where was I going with this? So so I'm hoping that that sense of draw and will still be there in Honkai Star Rail, will still be there in Zenless Zone Zero. Eula Mega Waifu, yeah, indeed. competition is really good. That's why I feel like, if I'm just hoping, like, I mean, people were expecting it to be like Tower of Fantasy. But I highly doubt that it will get to that, like Tower of Fantasy will get to that level. But yeah, there's really no other game that's like that I could see coming soon that can compete with Genshin. At least for now. Like, I mean, there's probably a lot of gacha games that that might compete with Genshin. I mean, a lot of people are saying like the what's that other one? Seven Deadly Sins, that mobile game that's coming from Netmarble. That one's gonna be competing with Genshin. I feel like it won't. I feel like it won't have the. I mean, but then again, this is just my bias. I've never really liked the character designs for the Seven Deadly Sins. That's just me. So, sorry if I offend you in any way, but like I've never liked the character aesthetics from that series. I mean, I did enjoy the story, like maybe in like the first couple of arcs, but I ended up losing interest in it. And I feel like that might be the same. Like, like, a lot of anime-based or manga-based games, like gacha games, have had that problem. Like the Overlord gacha game, Sword Art gacha game, Danmachi. I can like name so many gacha games, and I mean, sure, like their level of polish would be definitely varying, but I don't see any game like that being able to compete with Genshin. That's why, like, again, Tower Fantasy was looking to be one, but then again, I feel like it's more on the developers for Tower Fantasy that kind of screwed up. With these two new games coming out, it will cause competition within the company of Hoyoverse, which will then force Genshin Impact to make changes on the way they develop stuff. At least that's my thoughts on the state of Genshin Impact, or Hoyoverse in general. So hopefully, the new games coming out will, kickstart some sense of, competition between the project teams, which will actually force Genshin Impact to make a change. But then again, that's just my thoughts on the matter, because like right now, Genshin is pretty much sticking to their usual cycle. We pretty much saw it, even though there was a delay with the 2.7 patch. They're pretty much still gonna stick with the same formula. Like, release. I mean, based on the live stream, they release new characters, and then they will have events. Some of them feel rehashed, and like another rhythm game for 2.7. And then we'll be getting 2.8, and then by September, which is Genshin's anniversary, that one will be definitely a telling point on to see if Genshin has changed from the past 2 years. Because if they're still gonna treat their second anniversary the same as they did the first time around, where they only started giving rewards later on as a way to pacify players because of their complaints. Yeah. I feel like the anniversary, which is when their 3.0 patch will probably drop, which is the same what happened with their 2.0 patch. That's why we got Inazuma. And we're supposed to be getting Sumeru on 3.0, which will probably be fun because it's going to be... I've always enjoyed the exploration. The thing that I enjoy most in Genshin is the exploration of new areas. That, like, I remember during these, past few weeks of no content in Genshin, that was pretty much what I was doing. I was just working on my map completion, and I was able to finish Inazuma, Enkanomiya, and then now I'm working on the Chasm. So that was actually quite entertaining. I didn't have to worry about any story. I didn't have to worry about farming. I didn't bother with any artifacts. I wasn't worried about leveling up characters. I was just going around exploring the map, which was fun. When you don't have to worry about like min-maxing your characters, leveling up your characters, doing summons, it's a fun time. But like, yeah, so once we get to September, I'm sure things will pick up because we'll be getting a new area. But the thing is, how will they treat their player base? Will it change? Will it be a significant change from last year? Because last year definitely was not good. It was not good, or for Hoyoverse or MiHoYo at the time. A lot of the player base definitely felt like they were not, like they felt like the MiHoYo did not care about its player base because they only saw the player base as a way to make more money. Which is, I mean, that's like, I guess, every goal of every company, but I mean, still. If your player base disappears, you won't be able to make money. So, yeah, we'll see how their second anniversary arrives. Like, I'm not being like this because I hate the game. I love the game, but like, I feel like I'm one of those people. I feel like they just don't care about me as a player of their game. I have spent money on it, sure. Not as much as maybe some of the bigger whales. And I've stopped spending money on the game since anniversary because, yeah, I feel like I don't see a reason to, because MiHoYo just doesn't care about the player base. So, yeah, I mean, this may seem like me complaining. I guess it is. But, this is just my 2 cents, my thoughts on the current state of Hoyoverse. That's why, again, I am hoping that Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail will trigger something, because they will be basically they will be competing with each other, with themselves, I guess would be the better term.